Hi, this is Debbie Narver, and welcome to part 2 in our mini-series on the benefits of cross-cultural leadership. But we're first going to try to understand the challenges of cultural diversity. So I'm Debbie Narver. I'm an instructor with NMC Strategic Manager, and I specialize in strategic management and cross-cultural leadership. So what are the challenges with cultural diversity in the workplace? Well, there can be communication difficulties. People come from different societal norms and expectations, and we'll talk a little bit about that further on. And this can lead to conflict, errors, unexpected behavior. Consider that we each have cultural conditioning that shapes our behavior and our expectation of others. Becoming aware of our own cultural conditioning is an essential first step for leaders. So we all have what's considered societal norms, and these have kind of evolved as different cultures have determined how their society will behave in some sort of ordered way. These norms allow families and communities to interact with some predictable order. And we may even formalize these rules and laws to avoid the chaos that would ensue if they weren't followed. So how do we begin to understand these differences? Well, I like to start with a framework and some descriptive terms. And for this, I use some of the terminology in the framework of the Dimensions of National Culture, which is based on the work of Geert Hofstede. But rather than talk about specific countries and assign specific attributes to them, I really like to coach people to be aware of stereotyping, and that we just want to use these as kind of comparative and think about how we see things and how others might see them differently. So in this example, I've just used country A, B, and C and looked at how they might respond differently to different types of situations. For example, the first one is something called uncertainty avoidance. So if a country is or a culture is very high in uncertainty avoidance, they are going to be very nervous in situations where things aren't clear. So in others, they really embrace the uncertainty and find some comfort in it. So we really need to understand how our perspective might be very different than someone else's. So we start by understanding our own cultural conditioning. Consider that as parents, we teach children how to demonstrate respect. And children come to believe that these behaviors are respect. For example, in our culture, saying please and thank you is considered respect, a handshake, eye contact. But can we really expect that respect is demonstrated the same in every culture? So how might cultural conditioning affect my leadership? Well, first of all, we tend to make assumptions that others think the same way as us, which can lead to expectations that everyone should just know what's expected, how to behave. I shouldn't have to tell them. And that can lead to misunderstanding. So why is that person behaving inappropriately? We might think they're doing it intentionally. So we need to become aware of our own cultural conditioning in each of these dimensions so we understand what's driving our own expectations. And then consider how someone else with different perspectives might perceive a situation. For example, uncertainty avoidance. How might those differences affect their behavior different than what I'm expecting? And what can we do to avoid misunderstanding? So some tips for overcoming the challenges. First of all, learn how culture shapes belief, values, and behavior. Become aware of your own cultural conditioning and how that's impacting your expectations. And then consider how others might see things differently. But be careful to avoid stereotypes. Stay tuned for more in our mini-series, or visit our website to learn more about how we help organizations develop cross-cultural leadership skills. Thank you.